I've also unmuted Brian, and we're going to kick it off. Welcome, everyone, to techienews.co.uk open house. You're either listening to this now live or you're listening to the recording. The recording is going to be up 24 hours from now to the people listening live. My name's Adam Beebe. Brian Long is on the call. Brian, please say hi.
Hi, how is everyone doing today?
And Brian's the broker. I'm just running this. And Ravi Mandalia, is that pronounced right?
Yes, that's perfect.
Great. We're joined by Ravi the seller. So without further ado, let me go into some housekeeping here. If you haven't already done so, and this is applicable for people listening live, if you haven't done so, dial into the audio bridge. The only three people talking is myself, the broker, and Ravi the seller. Should you want to ask questions, please type it into the GoToMeeting functionality. I'll get them via the question function, and I'll read them verbatim when it's appropriate. If we're talking about revenue and if you have a traffic question, I'll wait until the traffic section, but they will all get asked. What we are looking at here is a content site that was created in 2009, so it's got some age to it. What everyone is looking at right now is the financial screen. It's the listing on Latona's. And once someone enters in their email address and logs in with their password, they're going to be able to access the monthly revenue, expenses, profit, uniques, page views, other things by clicking the actual number there. It's a graph appears. So you'll be able to see even more detailed information than what we're giving right now. It's got a trailing 12-month profit of just, well, $13,500. Asking is $50,000. We do have a full prospectus on this, which Brian can send to people once a signed NDA is in-house. But this screen we're seeing is available on Latona's presently to anyone. Now, Ravi, there's going to be two portions in the presentation here. The history of the site and the admin of the site, where really you're going to be doing the majority of the speaking, if not all, unless there's a question that comes in. So
Okay.
over the next minute or two, it doesn't have to, kind of the Reader's Digest version. Over the next minute or two, give us an idea of the history of the site, and really I'll get you started. Did you start it? Are you the sole owner? Has anything dramatically changed as to the functioning of the site since the inception of the site? And on that, I'll let you take it away.
Hello, everyone. Techienews.co.uk was started back in 2009 by a third party who got it approved by Google News. Then, over the course of a couple of years, they tried to run it, but when you see a couple of slides down further in the presentation, there was a break in between because they were not able to handle the operations part of it for whatever reason it may be. By the meantime, Parity Media Private Limited, which I represent, planned out an expansion in the UK because we are basically a media company. We deal with online news. So we bought techienews.co.uk about 1.5 years back in 2013. That was in September. We got the site operational because we wanted to expand in the UK physically as well as through the internet. From there on, we had our guys on the ground taking interviews with the local people, industry experts, things like that. We started covering technology sector specifically during the first 8 months. We hit around 1 million page views a month during that time. Things were looking good, but over the last 8 to 9 months, the company decided that we are not going to further expand in the UK as of now physically, and because this was the only property for the UK domain that we had, we didn't concentrate that much on the site, and that's the reason we are basically selling it off. Overall, in terms of the operations, I mean, there is no penalty from Google. Then there is nothing from the what you say blacklisting or anything, because we are not able to have uh, much of an attention on this particular domain. That's why there is you see the listing on Latona as of now. So operations wise, it is fine. The site is doing perfectly well with Google AdSense. There is no blacklisting there. So that's what it is basically. We took it over in 2013. We held it for 1.5 years, and I mean, if you see, there is a huge bump between 2000 and 2014. At that time, we were hitting 1 million page views a month. But we decided not to move ahead in the UK, and that's why the traffic has subsided, because much of the concentration was from our end was going into our local sites here in India.
Thank you for that detailed answer. And I'm just reviewing that did address a question that came in. Thank you. Um, the Wayback Machine, anyone can look at this, and it verifies that there have been some impressions as of very early 2009. You do have Google Analytics on the site. This is a screenshot within the past year or over the past year. Spikes, I'm seeing spikes. What would that be? I guess, late February, early March, right there, and some other. What do you attribute? And I know you touched upon it, but what are what are you attributing these? Just some of the content that you added went viral, or why would that be?
Yes, because technews.co.uk is basically a news website. What happens is when we cover a particular news, there are times when we are the first site that breaks a particular piece of story. If that happens, it gets picked up by Telegraph, The Guardian. We have backlinks from The Guardian as well. We have backlinks from The Independent in the UK. These three are major publishers in the UK. So during those times, the traffic goes just viral. And because they have been picked up by The Guardian, The Telegraph, and The Independent, other sites, including Engadget, you have PC World, then there is local itproportal.com. All these sites, they start linking back to us, and that's when you see those spikes.
Okay, makes sense. And it's a .co.uk. This is a nice blend between the UK and the US traffic, with Canada having quite a bit. Are you buying any traffic? What I know we'll get into backlinking later, but have you ever bought any traffic?
No, we have never invested a single penny in buying any traffic at all. It's purely organic, coming from Google News.
Okay. Google News obviously is a huge thing. Um, Referral. That's where the majority of your traffic comes from. I do see a question here. The social media. I mean, you do have a decent presence there, and I know it's touched upon in the prospectus as well as the listing. Go into a little bit of a conversation as it relates to your social media presence, please.
Um, Basically, we have two, what do you say, one page is in Facebook, that is facebook.com/technewsuk. Then we have a Twitter handle, that is technewsuk again, uh, which are both will be given to the new owner. Uh, what we are doing is basically, because we are concentrating only on the news aspect of it, we are not able to, what do you say, socialize our traffic in terms of making it viral, because we never had our attention particularly concentrated on the social aspect of it. What we are trying to do over the last 1.5 years, specifically initially 6 months, was to gain an what do you say, respect within the local UK community, from the publishers as well as the viewers, or the reader base, as to the genuinity of our site, the genuine coverage that we provide in the technology sector. And backlinking wasn't the main attention, but we got it because we got referred by even slashdot.com, which you will see in the next few slides. We got got linkbyfark.com. These are the major, basically, sites that provide, or which are aggregators. We get regular traffic from Reddit because we are the brokers of a particular piece of story. So because we didn't concentrate on Facebook and Reddit too, Twitter too much, you will see around, what do you say, the social traffic is a bit on the lower end, but referral traffic from uh, news, that is Google News UK, Bing News also, because we are affiliated with Bing News as well. And then there is the organic search traffic.
Okay, that very detailed. I appreciate that, and that does address some things that came in. As you mentioned, news.both.com.co.uk, and these are the major five here. This is something that our buyers like to see. You may have mentioned, I apologize, when was it accepted into Google News?
It was back in 2009 itself. The main owner who got it in, I believe he was a journalism student back in those days. Um, while studying, he got the approval. Somehow, I don't know what was the process that he went through, because I wasn't in the initial buyout phase, because I handled the editorial aspects of the site. But that's what January 2009 or February 2009 was when it got approved. Then he went on for the first few months. Then the traffic completely died for some reason. Then we took it over.
Okay, thank you. Let me advance here. Um, maybe I should know, but Slashdot, I'm not up. What is that?
It's basically, if you see, it's slashdot.org. It's one of the most, what do you say, ancient site. It started back in 1999. It can be considered as one of the best aggregators of technology, science, and gaming news, where people from various, like, if you, it's a granddaddy of Reddit. Reddit is something that is going on since last 6 7 years, but Slashdot is what happened way back in 1999.
Okay.
So that's what
Learned
it is.
something. Yeah, Reddit I'm very familiar with. I was unaware about Slashdot. Um, Great. Okay. Thank you. And you're addressing questions as they come in. Just I'll again as they come in, I'll ask them verbatim. But you've done a good job addressing them without me saying anything. Now, as far as backlinking, here's one. Do you do link exchanges? Where are you getting your backlinks from? I know we have slides that'll show some of your uh, link partners, if you will, or sites you're linked to. But tell us about your backlinking efforts, please.
From the sponsored, I would say, paid backlinks, there is zero as of now, or since we took over. We have invested $0 or pounds into backlinking. We are not having link exchanges at all, because that's effectively harmful for the site. What we have done is, because we have been reporting news stories before anyone could do, because of our reach in the US, UK, as well as India, we were referred to by many other sites which were reporting it after we did. There were times when we reported some story today and it got effectively became a news 2 days after. And because we were the original source of it, things uh, that's what gave us the backlinks. And I have analytics records going past even before this particular 1 year period that will show links from almost every major technology site out there, including local publishers in the UK. So zero paid backlinks, zero link exchanges. It's purely because of our authority.
Okay, and these are Slashdot and which you went into. These are some of the sites that you're linking to. Anything you care to comment about any of these specific sites?
Slashdot, as I said, is basically a news aggregator which started way back in 1999. It is one of the best sites if you are into technology, science, and health news. not health, but gaming news.
Hmm.
They provide a gist of a story and link back to the original source. That's what happens. And from there, people go to your site. Then these other sites, they have linked us for some of our coverage. Then you see noaa.gov, that's the a government site from the US. It's basically the National Oceanographic site. Because we covered a piece on them, there was an interview we covered with one of their officials, and that's why they linked back to us. And there are multiple government backlinks, there are multiple educational university backlinks, because we have been with touch with their researchers, their professors, covering their research, their stories, and then presenting on the web.
Okay. Okay, that addresses that. I don't know why, and my eyes aren't as good as they used to be. You would know right off. I mean, these are the keywords. Um, what keywords do you rank well for organically?
Organically, I mean, basically, say what happens is when something clicks on Google News for those 48 hours,
Got it.
starting from the first story coverage,
Hmm.
right from, say, for example, 2 p.m. EST, from today till 48 hours, anyone who reports on that particular piece, they get a share of Google coverage on their search as well as news and things like that. So if we have covered a piece in that particular category or particular heading, then we'll get a piece of that for those 48 hours. So there is no particular keyword that we rank well for. It's effectively all keywords for us, because we are a news site. We are not a blog, because we are not a how-to site that we need to optimize for something. I would like to share something. We have zero, what do you say, expense for search engine optimization as well. Effectively, we don't do any search engine optimization, because we are not trying to do something on a particular niche. We report everything that goes on into technology, science, and health. Because Google finds us credible, it gives us a ranking in the first page, and then the other sites link us back to specific keywords. But having said that, we particularly rank well for some reason for Microsoft and any Microsoft related story, any keywords, be it Microsoft, Microsoft Office, Microsoft Word, Azure, you name a product from Microsoft, we rank well for that. And we effectively don't know what's the reason, but that's what is happening.
Okay, thank you. And these are things that anyone we pulled off SEM Rush. We already went into backlinks. That's not important at this point. Okay, so this is. I mean, really, you've already addressed this. I mean, the spikes, the. I mean, it's really based on what's hitting on Google News. Um, Other than
Um,
that, is there anything you can attribute spikes and valleys, or I know you don't
sure,
do SEO, but go ahead, please. Go ahead.
sure. Um, Back in late 2014, that's when the company decided that we will not go ahead with the expansion in the UK, at least on the physical front. And because of that, there were repercussions on the online front as well, wherein few of our sources on the ground in the UK, they left us. And that's where the decline, if you see, from September 2014 to October, and that particular fall was because we were having effectively no coverage on the ground whatsoever. Uh, then what happened was I took a call, because I handle the editorial part of the site, that we need to have a few freelancers and try to maintain the site actually on the online front, try to maintain the presence, because we have a very credible history. So we didn't want to ruin those things. So we hired a few freelancers. They did a few interviews for us. They did a few headhunting in terms of new researchers, new backstage dramas, I would say, in terms of this technology front. new acquisitions, things like that. They tried to get us the info out of people's mouth in the local UK technology spectrum. That's when the work started again on a we say more rhythmic basis. So you will see a bit of traffic in November and December, and then again we were back into the action. I mean, because we wanted to have this site into a level that it was earlier, but because we didn't have the management's what do you say push that we can continue, it lasted for a couple of months again up till April. Then again, things went a bit haywire, and that's when we decided that we will have this site off our portfolio. In June 2015, the freelancers that we had to let them go. We even let go of our contributor who was actually writing those stories based on the interviews and research that was made by the freelancers in the UK. Uh, that's where the dip is. But then, because I have been concentrating on the site myself for the last 2-3 months alone, that's where you see a traffic bump in July. And in August, again, things are not looking as the way it should be because of this ongoing listing and things like that. But again, the numbers for September are not here because it's the month has not completed, but we have already breached uh, last month's traffic. We are nearing 100K again. So that's the whole story.
Okay. Thanks for addressing that, and what invariably is the case with very few exceptions. This uniques graph is basically a mirror image of the views graph. You get quite a few views per person, per unique. That's good. Okay, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, you got quite a few admin slides there. It's about 12 or 13. Over the next 10 minutes or so, if you would, um, just a basic discussion on what we're looking at as far as the admin section here, as far as the actual screenshot. And I'm going to start you off. And when you're done speaking about a specific slide, a specific slide can be as easy as this is where I edit things. And, the first comment, the thing, what platform is it built on? Um, has it always been on that platform? And then you can take it away from there. If you don't have much to say about a screenshot, other than this is where I add content, that's fine. That's all that needs to be added on that or mentioned about that.
Okay.
But I'm going to put myself on mute so there's no ambient noise. When you're done speaking about a specific slide, simply say next, and I'll advance like that. So, what
Okay.
what platform is it built on, and take it away.
Okay, basically it's a WordPress platform, content management system WordPress. It's one of the standard that is used by mostly all the news sites out there. It's fairly easy to use, easy to operate. This is where basically you can add categories until unless you are going into a new category completely. Say from we are currently covering technology, you have business, you have science, health. If someone decides to add sports news to it, that's where we add the categories. So that's about it for this slide. Next, please. This is when you log in to the admin panel. This is the dashboard that you see. You'll get the overview of what the things are like, the number of posts that have been published, the recent activity, anything that is scheduled, things like that. Next. This is the menu. Say you decide on tweaking a menu a little, like currently we have the categories listed on the main menu. So in case you add a new category, you want that particular menu to show up, you come here to the menu section under appearance and menus and add the new category and save. That's about it. Next, please. This is the subscribers, the newsletter subscribers. We started this off back in late 2013. Initially, we didn't have this particular plugin, but we installed it and had our readers the option of subscribing to our daily digest. So as of now, we have more than 575 subscribers who read our stories daily. It is an automated plugin. There is no manual work to be done at all. It pulls the story from yesterday, the entire set of stories that have been published yesterday, puts it into a digest form and mails it to all the subscribers according to the settings. So that's about it. This is the screen for the subscribers. Next, please. We are using a customized or theme for the site. Because it's a new site, we have a specific theme that we have purchased. So this theme comes into the package and it's a licensed version. This is the theme panel for that particular theme. Next, please. This is the layout. So there are multiple layout options for video posts, or if you want to go for a regular blog post kind of coverage, or if you want to go for a little bit of fancy one where you need a different widget to show up for a particular story. So these is the post settings. Next, please. This is the header part. So this is where you adjust the logo, the ad, if in case you want to have a new ad completely. There are multiple ad formats that are available from AdSense. So you can customize those bits from the header section. Next, please. This is the page layout, the home page layout. It was visible on the first, I think, fourth or fifth slide that we saw. That particular layout you can tweak. You can have a particular category show up on the first or above the fold. You can have a look at the different widgets on the side. If you want to tweak those settings, you can have a particular category having a slideshow kind of format. So those things you can do through the this particular option. It is run by the Visual Composer, so effectively it's a drag and drop. So there is no coding involved. What you can do is you come here, you pick a particular block, paste it in a particular part of the page and save it. That's about it. The rest it is taken care of automatically. Next, please. This is where I add new stories through post, add new. Next, please. And once you go into the all posts section, this is basically a summary of all the posts that have been published or are scheduled or which are in draft, things like that. Next, please. This is the widget section. So there are times when you may end up getting a direct banner sale of an advertisement for a particular rate. So if in case you are having those particular options, you can simply put a widget here under the newspaper default or in the footer section, that is footer 1, 2, and 3, and you can customize it. You may have a particular Facebook page kind of layout showing up at the bottom or on the right hand side, or you can add new uh, uh, calendar kind of thing, or you can put archives there, things like that. Next, please.
All right, thank you. And you addressed any questions that came in. The wonder is here, obviously, what happened in August. I mean, I know think traffic's down and such, but I mean, is it really just a function of what news stories hit, and is I guess the revenue is very much based on traffic. So can you
Um,
expand upon that any?
yes. What I'll try to do is I'll try to pull up the live figures in terms of the number of stories we covered for that particular month. Because we were into a bit of a dilemma of that's when we contacted Adam and Brian to get our listing online. So most of our attention, I mean, was there. And then there was a bit of uh, management push of not continuing with the site because I was devoting my time into this aspect, and I effectively handle the editorial bit of a newspaper here in India, which is basically a physical print newspaper. So because my attention was being divided, I was taken off from that particular role for about 15 odd days. And because there was no freelancer working at the moment, uh, it effectively went down. The page views went down, and the revenues went down as well. So that's the story behind it. But the September numbers are again back on track. If we get a chance to update our listing, we will definitely do that as well. So just give me a second. I'm trying to find out the number of posts that we covered for August, the number of stories. The actual figure on an average we cover around 400 odd stories a month, but in August we did only around, sorry, on average we do around, sorry, 800 stories a month, but in August we did only 388. So it was effectively half the stories than what we actually do. And that's why there was a decline in the traffic, and that's why we had a decline in our revenue as well.
Okay, thank you for the clear explanation there, and I'm just making sure that someone's question was addressed. Okay, good. I mean, we're talking about just everyone listening. Look on the left-hand side. Expenses are never over $220 or whatever that is. So, I mean, this up and down, we're only talking about 50 to $100 per month difference. The expenses hosting, and it's on Latona's listing page. But tell us what the expenses are, please.
Yes, the first and foremost expense is the VPS, but because we have a number of sites, the VPS basically gets shared. But still, we have added around $10 to $12 per month for this site's VPS part of it, though it doesn't come to that at all if in case we have multiple sites listed on a particular server. Then there we had a freelancer that in terms of the contributor part. She used to write the stories for us, basically properly drafted from what we had our local guys give us inputs on. So if we had an interview, they would have scribbled it on a piece of paper, they would send it across. And because they were effectively doing us a favor, because during this year they already knew that things are going away from them, uh, it was like a part coverage that they did for others, they were handing out to us as well as a favor. So their expenses were never effectively contributed by Techie News. We were paying it off from the main site, and that is the main company's account. Now, it was a one-off thing, so you can attribute $10 to $20 a story over there, but most of our things were coming from press releases during this 1.5 years period. Uh, so when you have spikes, that's where we had number of more interviews that we covered. When there were dips, there was effectively no new interviews that we covered at all. So that's the entire play thing here. Ups and downs are because we had local guys give us inputs, and downs when we never had any inputs from them.
Okay, great. We have three more slides. Everyone listening live, last call for questions will be coming up. But Ravi, some of this you addressed already. But let's start this slide by saying, an hour of your time is worth more than an hour of my time in certain skills, and then vice versa. But I guess 30 seconds or so, kind of tell us what your skill set is, what it was coming into the site, what it is now, and what's needed to operate the site daily.
First of all, it's the journalistic abilities or the editorial background that a person needs to have. I was a contributor with PC Meg .com, techradar.com. I have a background of technology basically because I am a science student from UK. So initially I was a contributor, then I handled this operations. So editorial aspects of this you need to know how to decide on which story goes at what time. You need to keep an eye on Google News of what story is going on and decide on a time on when to publish so that Google index it at the top position, things like that. On an average, I give out around 4 hours a day because that's where the entire thing goes. I decide on the stories, I distribute it among the contributors, they write it out, and then I schedule them or publish them whenever the appropriate time comes. So 4 hours a day max.
Okay. Um, right. That addresses that. Site growth, future expectations. Really, the way to take this is if you were to keep the site, what would you do to grow it?
And I have three things in mind. First is cover more stories effectively because that's the entire game. I mean, the higher the stories, the number of stories you publish, the more visibility you have in Google News, and the more revenue gets generated. Second is basically because we have never tried Amazon affiliates. We do have an account. It has been approved for Techie News, but we have never tried it. But Amazon affiliates is a very good option here because it's a technology site and consumer electronics are a huge thing in UK. So that's the second option that I will go for if in case time permits or if the site doesn't sell. And third is effectively going for more search engine optimization if that's what it is required to have its visibility grow into the general uh, organic search part, not just the news section, but the general Google search.
Okay. All right. Last question. Why are you selling?
As I said, this is not a blog that I personally owned. We started off Parity Media back in 2009 in India. Then we had successfully launched physical newspapers in the local market in India. Things were going on perfectly fine, and that's when we decided to buy something in the UK because there were expansion plans in the UK because of my background in UK as well, because I've lived there for 4 years. Uh, that's when we decided we buy Techie News. Things were going on well, but because of some constraints here in India, because I wasn't able to give out enough time for my physical presence in the UK, we had to decide that okay, we have to sell this off. This is not something that our company is destined to do as of now. Possibly in the future we may expand overseas, but not as of now. And that's why having a .co.uk domain without actually justifying it is not something that we want. It has huge potential. I mean, if in case someone requests it, I can give a 2013-14 traffic overview where the just traffic is sky high, and that's the reason we don't want to go it a waste. I mean, it's something very precious. If someone from the media industry picks it up, they can do wonders with this site.
Okay. Um, Robbie, thank you. And you've addressed some questions within the flow of the conversation. So what I'm going to do right now is ask the audience live. Last call for questions. Please send them in. As we're waiting for that, Robbie, thank you for your time. I appreciate it. I do also want to. Remind people a few things. My name's Adam Beebe. Your point of contact, his information is on the listing itself. His name, phone number, email address is there. Brian's on the phone right here. So reach out to him directly should you have any questions. There is a prospectus that's available for anybody who has signed an NDA. Quality site, Google News site, really seems like it's poised to be able to be grown. Um, I'm getting confirmation. I don't have any more questions for you, Ravi, from the audience. Brian, Ravi, thank you both for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Brian. Thank you
Thank
very
you,
much,
Ravi.
Adam.
And Ravi, you did a great job, and we will definitely be in touch. Everyone listening live, this recording will be on Latona's within 24 hours. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Bye bye.